My husband and I got together whenever we were in our early 20s. I had no idea at the time that he was in the darkest place you can imagine, because he did not tell me what it was like to be depressed and to have the nightmares and to have the flashbacks that he would have after having his fingers ripped off in a traumatic incident at work. He thought he could handle it himself. He was a man, and he felt like nobody understood what he was going through in his recovery, because everybody that was trying to help him had all of their fingers. So how could they possibly understand what it was like to be going through what he was going through when he lost most of his? You see, my husband and I knew each other in high school, but we just ran in very different social circles. He was on top. He was popular. Everybody knew who he was. He was a nice guy. He really was. But he did have an ego, and he probably had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He was the guy that every guy wanted to be friends with him, and every girl wanted to date him. When you're young and having a status like that, you're basically on top of the world, and you feel like nothing can bring you down and nothing can touch you. And he was wrong. When he got hurt, something changed in him viscerally. He realized that ego doesn't matter, that it's not important. He realized that anybody can be knocked off their pedestal no matter what status you have in life. That was a big reason why he felt like he could self-medicate and manage what was going on in his head, and the nightmares, literally, that he was having at night that interfered with his ability to sleep, interfered with his ability to function during the day, and he just needed not only the physical pain to be managed, but he needed the mental anguish to be better regulated, because when his mind was sober, it was overwhelming. So when you're experiencing PTSD like he did, it causes the depression, like a snowball effect in the wrong direction. So once he was depressed, he needed to try and pull himself out of it any way he could, which on his own wasn't working because he didn't have the skill set to be able to manage that himself, which is a mistake that a lot of people make whenever they are in a PTSD and or depression situation. They think they can handle it, or they think they are managing it well enough to where eventually it'll go away, or they're just trying to do the best they can as they go. It's literally a moment to moment, day to day battle that nobody can understand unless they've been through it personally. When we started dating, I had no idea what was actually going on in his mind. And it was easily covered up because, like I said, we were young and we were in party mode, so I thought, because that's what you do whenever you're in your 20s. You drink, you hang out with your friends, you go to the bar, you just have a good time, and there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't turn into a problem, so you assume when you're young. We didn't think that 4 nights a week at the bar was a problem because we were young. We didn't think that being drunk almost every day of the week was a problem because we were young. We didn't think that having $80 to $100 tabs in a matter of a few hours between just 2 people was a problem because we were young. And that's what young people do. The problem with being young is eventually you grow up. And the older we got, the drinking continued. The older we got, we kept the same behaviors, we just did it differently. So instead of being drunk in a bar 7 days a week, we were drunk at home 7 days a week because it was easier, it was cheaper, it was safer. So nobody was drinking and driving or potentially getting in trouble just because we didn't want to be sober. Now, he had his reasons for drinking. I had mine. The problem was when you put us together, it was a compound effect, and it got bad. Really, really bad. When you're an alcoholic, you plan your day around getting drunk. He always said that you could tell how severe of an alcoholic a person was based on what they drank. Because unless you had a lot of money, which we didn't because we spent all of our money on alcohol, and at the time he smoked cigarettes. So 2 packs a day plus whatever alcohol we chose got really expensive really quickly. So when he was going to a job every single day, at times 7 days a week, because whenever you work in a refinery, sometimes you go for months on end working 7 days a week, 12-hour days. You get 1 day off every 14 days. And that was our life. He went to work. He came home. He drank. When he started drinking, I started drinking because why would he want to drink alone? Why would I want to be sober? He definitely didn't want to be sober. It was not a good situation, and it was not getting any better because we were enabling one another, but we couldn't seem to stop the cycle, and we weren't really trying. It wasn't until 2018, whenever he was 35 years old, that we realized we had to do something different or he was literally gonna die. His blood work numbers were horrible. His liver was starting to have an ill effect from his behavior, among many other bodily functions. He had so many issues that started up that we realized that if we kept going down the path we were on, he wasn't going to be around much longer. Nobody around us realized how bad it was because they were all young and they were partying as well, and they didn't have the physical issues that he had or the reasons for drinking that we had. So they had no idea how much deeper we were than they were. And in all of that, we managed to have 2 young children that we were not giving the life that they deserved. Now, they didn't know that because we had good family around us that we managed to maintain a face of falsehood that nobody could see what was behind the curtain. So nobody realized how bad it actually was for us. And of course, this sent us on a roller coaster all those years in our relationship, trying to raise kids and be drunk all the time. And my husband trying to manage everything that was going on inside of his head that I didn't know about because he didn't know how to explain it to me. And I didn't understand potentially what he was going through. So I didn't know how to explain to him what his behaviors or lack thereof were doing to me. And so it took a toll on our relationship. When our daughter was 18 months old, we split up and we were actually apart for about 2.5 years. Made amends, got back together, had our son. And then some years later, in 2017, we almost got divorced. Spent 2 weeks separated and realized we had to make a change if we wanted our family to survive and if we wanted our kids to grow up healthy and happy and thriving. So once we realized that the drinking needed to stop or something really bad was going to happen, we spent a year going to every doctor we could find to possibly find some answers for the physical pain and ailments that my husband was experiencing, which was part of the reason why he was drunk all the time because he was in actual physical pain, let alone all the mental challenges that he was going through. So, unfortunately, after going to 11 different doctors with a variety of specialties, we got no answers. It was incredibly defeating and exhausting, mentally, physically, and financially. All that time at his job, destroying his health in every way, taking its ill effect on our family and its wellness, making six figures every year, and we literally had nothing. We had nothing to show for it. We had no savings. We were broke in so many ways. And we had to repair every little aspect of our life and our relationship if we were going to make it. So we took matters into our own hands. We changed our nutrition. We now eat plant-based because that's what felt good. That's what helped my husband feel even the slightest bit better physically. He went to therapy and learned how to manage and get past what was going on in his mind and recover fully, individually, from the PTSD and the depression. And then we went to marriage counseling because we needed to learn how to communicate and work together if we were going to make our family whole again. When we were in lockdown during COVID in 2020, we saw so many people stressing about how they wanted life to go back to what it was before COVID happened. They wanted to go right back to the same old thing that they were doing before, as though they had learned absolutely nothing about what truly matters in life. So we decided to take advantage of the perspective shift that we got from lockdowns and all the tragedy that happened around COVID. We realized that we did not want to ever go back to the life that we were living prior to COVID. And we wanted to do better. We wanted to live better. We just wanted to be better than we were before. So we spent the time and we made the effort. We did the research and we found our 40 acres in the mountains, in the Appalachian Mountains. We sacrificed everything we needed to sacrifice in order to make it happen. We didn't just think in terms of one day I'd like to do this, as everybody seems to do. We realized what we wanted to change and we took the necessary steps to make that happen. We sold every large appliance in our house. We sold one of our 2 vehicles. We had multiple garage sales, literally 5 to 6 garage sales over a 2-year period, and sold absolutely every item we could possibly live without in order to accumulate the funds that we needed and repair our credit, to get the loan, all of the things that we needed to do to execute getting 40 acres in our paradise. Our life is by no means perfect now, and it's never going to be, because that's not how relationship or life works. But this is our version of perfect. We have learned how to live better together, individually, for our children. We now have a 3rd brand new baby, literally a baby, that never would have happened had we not realized what we were doing to ourselves, to one another, to those around us, and made significant change in our life to get to where we are now. This is why I do what I do. This is why I have a career now in trying to help others transform their lives, transform their bodies, transform their world from whatever it may be, whatever negative, whether it's just needing to lose a little bit of weight or completely change everything they're doing in their existence to live the life that they want to live and be the person they want to be. PTSD affects the individual suffering from it. Depression affects the individual suffering from it. But don't forget about those around those people and the toll it takes on them as well. You can change your life into anything you want it to be.